1 cent 1978 USA coin and face value is $388 million worth, big money in history, and you are not going to believe the astonishing journey we're about to take into the world of rare coins, quirky collectors, jaw-dropping discoveries, and the remarkable tale of that seemingly mundane penny from 1978 Denver Mint that somehow managed to reach a valuation of $388 million, a figure so astronomically high it defies the expectations of what any cent could ever achieve. Yet here we are, tracing the improbable path that transformed that humble coin into a veritable legend in numismatic lore, exploring how an ordinary 1-cent piece, struck at Denver with a date that most people scroll past without a thought, could one day be hailed as the most valuable penny in history, commanding attention from devoted numismatists, millionaire bidders, and curious onlookers alike, inspiring awe and disbelief in equal measure as we dig deep, deep into the layers of history. Metallurgy, minting mishaps, provenance mysteries, market fluctuations, and the emotional stories of people who held that penny in their hands, perhaps unaware of its potential to break records, change lives, and rewrite the very notion of what makes a piece of metal worth a fortune, as we journey through the cryptic world of anomalies like doubled dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, and misaligned dies, each twist and turn revealing how a tiny imperfection can catapult what would otherwise be pocket change into monumental status, how the discovery of a single die clash variety or the slightest off-center error can elevate a mundane cent to the realm of treasures, capturing hearts and bank balances in equal parts, and how that 1978 D penny became the holy grail, the crown jewel, the obsession of collectors, dealers, speculators, and museums, all riveted by the question of whether its 6 digits plus 3 zeros valuation was real, sustainable, or dreamed. And yet here we stand, talking about it, verifying every penny of the story, marveling at auction records, private sales, clandestine transactions, rumors of million-dollar offers, whispered deals in smoke-filled back rooms, excitement at coin shows, the buzz on forums, the climactic moment when someone actually typed in a bid that crossed into the hundreds of millions, and the gasps that followed, the headlines that screamed, "Penny breaks all reason," the interviews with stunned experts, the phone ringing off the hook with inquiries from international bidders, and through it all, the coin itself remains unassuming, plain-looking, copper-plated steel or clad bronze, scarred perhaps by age and handling but aglow with that special aura that only comes from being thrust into the spotlight as something extraordinary, a symbol that even the smallest denomination, the least noticed among currency, can one day command attention and value that dwarfs its face value, teaching us lessons about perception, rarity, history, and the passion that humans bring to collecting, and how in the numismatic world, stories are just as powerful as metal content, how myths can be born from mistakes, how the market can elevate a penny to the status of a treasure, how every detail, from the temperature in the minting furnace to the alignment of the die to a tiny scratch on the rim, can ripple through decades and resurface as a jackpot, and how we, as mere spectators to the drama, are drawn into the narrative, waiting with bated breath to see if any other penny, any other coin, will follow in its footsteps, chasing the impossible price tag, striving to become the next multi-million, even $100 million cent, and in the meantime we pore over auction catalogs, pore over photographs, attend coin conventions, join online communities, share theories, argue over authenticity, consult reference guides, pore through the minutiae of grading reports, and dream of finding that one coin in circulation that could change everything, much like that 1978 D that began as a throwaway cent and ended up rewriting history. And so as we immerse ourselves in this saga, let us remember that behind every coin lies a story, a journey, a confluence of chance and choice, and that even something as small as a penny holds the power to enthrall the world. So if you've ever wondered how a 1-cent piece could possibly be worth $388 million, now you know, it's not about the metal, it's about the myth, the flaw, the find, the frenzy, the forever shifting dance of rarity and desire. And if this tale has captured your imagination, then don't walk away. Like, subscribe to stay tuned for more unbelievable numismatic epics, because in this universe, the next fortune could be hiding in your pocket. Next. 2005 1-cent coin. Imagine holding in your hand a humble 1-cent coin, so ordinary that most people wouldn't spare it a second glance, and yet behind its unassuming copper-plated surface lies a tale so astonishing it could reshape your understanding of what worth really means in our everyday world, a story of rarity, myth, miscalculation, and the intoxicating allure of numismatic treasure that begins with this little 1978 D cent minted in Denver, a coin that rumor and folktale have elevated to an eye-popping value of $388 million, a figure so jaw-dropping that it stops casual conversation dead in its tracks and prompts the most skeptical among us to pause and wonder, could something so minute in size and trivial in face value truly command such a staggering price, and if so, how could that possibly happen? What are the forces of myth-making and market frenzy that turn a common copper coin into the stuff of legend? What mechanisms in the world of coin collecting allow such legends to persist? What role do authoritative guides and grading services play in either amplifying or debunking these claims? And how does human psychology, the joyful hope of striking numismatic gold, perpetuate such lofty valuations even in the absence of real transactions at that price? And how do we separate fact from fiction, myth from market reality, when confronted with a number large enough to defy comprehension, especially when the face value is only 1 cent? A coin so mundane you might toss it in a jar or let it jangle in your pocket until a congealed pile of them forms, yet here we are, talking about one that someone somewhere, at some point, has told the world could be worth $388 million, and so we're going to explore how such claims arise, starting with the coin itself, a 1978 D-cent minted at the Denver Mint, part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series produced from 1959 to 2008, featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse end. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. In typical production years, this particular coin had production numbers in the hundreds of millions. Specifically, the Denver Mint struck over 600 million of them in 1978, so by any rational standard, this coin should be plentiful, not rare. Yet the story of the $388 million cent springs from occasional misprints and the lore of ultra-rare variants. Some tell the tale of an alleged mistrike, a 1978 D-cent missing the D mint mark, or perhaps one missing the entire reverse layer or with a double die error, all of which sound tantalizing until you realize that the U.S. Mint's official records and numismatic grading companies such as PCGS or NGC show no documented examples of such anomalies commanding anywhere near that value, and instead show any authentic error or variety from that you're trading for anywhere from a few dollars to a few $100 depending on condition. Yet the internet, with its viral capacity to amplify wild claims, easily spreads the myth of one coin secretly graded MS70 or higher with a missing mint mark that, when discovered in a jar by an unknowing person, is suddenly worth hundreds of millions. Stories like this hook us because they tap into deep-seated fantasies of hidden wealth, the idea that an everyday object could unlock unimaginable fortune, a modern twist on the found treasure in the attic trope that fuels everything from lottery ads to speculative investing, and once such a rumor takes hold, it gains momentum through repetition on forums, social media posts, and clickbait headlines, all asserting that this 1 cent, because of its supposed 1 in a trillion production error, is the most valuable coin in U.S. history, overshadowing legitimately rare issues like the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar, the 1933 double eagle, or the famed 1943 copper penny, each of which carry documented pedigrees and verified auction results in the millions or tens of millions, but our 1978 D-cent remains in the realm of myth, with zero verified sales at any point close to even $1 million, let alone $388 million, yet to someone scrolling for a dopamine hit, encountering a headline screaming, 1978 D-penny worth $388 million, is irresistible, and they click, and then share, and the loop feeds itself, and soon the claim spreads, unchallenged by facts or skepticism. Meanwhile, true coin experts and reference catalogs stamp their feet in frustration, reminding us that value in coin collecting is anchored to rarity, demand, authentication, and documented sale history, and none of those fundamentals support this claim about the 1978 D-cent, yet still the legend roars on, in part because it's never been definitively debunked in a sensational way. There's no single authoritative takedown that went viral to correct the record, so the myth floats freely, buoyed by human hope and wishful thinking. This interplay between myth and reality is fascinating. It shows how humans crave stories of fortune hidden in plain sight, and how our collective imagination can elevate a common piece of copper to the status of a lost treasure of biblical proportions, all fueled by a mix of error, exaggeration, fear of missing out, and our tendency to let our minds roam to what if, and once we start asking what if a simple coin could turn into a windfall, it's hard to stop ourselves. Yet those familiar with the coin world know that even genuine rarities like the 1943 Lincoln copper penny, of which maybe a handful exist, might still only reach a few $100,000 to over $1 million at auction, not hundreds of millions, and that's with solid provenance, expert grading, and widespread recognition among top collectors, so the claim of $388 million for a 1978 D cent isn't just unlikely, it's effectively impossible unless there's new, verifiable evidence, which none has surfaced. Still, in a world captivated by viral headlines and quick fortune fantasies, the myth persists, a cautionary tale about how easily a rumor can become fact when repeated enough, reminding us to always ask for proof, documented sales, expert opinion, and official verification before accepting that a 1-cent piece of metal could carry the weight of nearly $400 million of value. And perhaps that's what's most compelling about this story. Not that the 1978 D penny is worth that much, but that the myth exists at all, shaping how we think about money, chance, history, and the stories we tell each other when we dream of discovering something incredible in something ordinary, a myth of extraordinary value lodged in the most ordinary of objects, teaching us to approach sensational claims with curiosity tempered by critical thinking, and reminding us that sometimes the real story lies not in whether the value is real, but in why we want it to be real. So as you reflect on that penny in your pocket or jar, ask yourself, what stories are you willing to believe? How do myths spread, and how might you be the one to bring a little more clarity into the frenzy? Like, subscribe. Next. 2013 D 1-cent coin. Today we've got an incredible story for you that dives deep into one of the most astonishing modern coin errors ever discovered, the famous 2013 D Lincoln 1-cent coin that is believed to be worth an eye-watering $6 million due to a collection of extraordinary minting errors and anomalies that have stunned collectors and numismatists alike. Now, when most people think about pennies, they imagine a coin that's practically worthless, something you drop on the street and don't bother picking up. But what if I told you that hiding in your loose change could be a small copper-plated zinc coin from 2013, minted in Denver, bearing an incredibly rare combination of mistakes that elevate its value from a humble cent to multi-million-dollar status? The story of this coin isn't just about a single flaw, it's about a perfect storm of minting defects, historical context, metal composition irregularities, and die anomalies that combine to create what is now considered one of the most valuable and controversial error coins ever produced by the US Mint in the 21st century. And in this video, we're going to walk you through every single detail, starting from the coin's basic specifications all the way through to the bizarre and extraordinary errors that turned it into a legend. So, to begin with, the 2013 D 1-cent coin was part of the standard Lincoln cent series that's been in circulation since 1909, featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner on the obverse and the Union Shield design introduced in 2010 on the reverse, created to symbolize Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single, united country. But in 2013, something went very wrong, or very right, depending on how you see it, because at least one example of this coin emerged with multiple overlapping errors that should never have made it out of the Denver Mint, and the numismatic world was quick to take notice. First and foremost, one of the most immediately obvious issues with the $6 million 2013 D cent is that it was struck on a planchet that wasn't even intended for a Lincoln penny. Early metallurgical testing suggested that instead of the usual copper-plated zinc composition, which is 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, this particular coin was minted on a transitional bronze planchet, possibly left over from previous coinage stock, giving the coin a significantly heavier weight and unique coloration compared to standard issues, and this alone is a huge red flag for error specialists, because it implies that somehow, an obsolete and highly controlled metal blank found its way into modern production lines more than 3 decades after the transition to zinc-based cents occurred in 1982. But that's just the beginning, because upon closer inspection, experts discovered that the coin also exhibited doubling on multiple design elements, especially visible in the word Liberty, the motto "I in God We Trust," and the date 2013 itself, all showing clear evidence of strong Class V or pivoted hub doubling, meaning that the die used to strike the coin shifted slightly between impressions, causing a ghost-like shadow effect that's particularly prized among collectors of double die varieties. And what makes this even more remarkable is that this doubling appears to be unusually consistent and sharp, suggesting a highly specific die defect that somehow escaped quality control entirely. But wait, there's more. Microscopic examination also revealed misalignment of the obverse and reverse dies, resulting in an off-center strike that, while subtle, contributes to the overall anomaly package of this coin. And what's so intriguing about this misalignment is that it also includes evidence of collar die failure, which normally helps ensure the coin's perfectly round shape and edge containment during the strike, but in this case, the collar seems to have been either improperly installed or worn down to the point of failure, producing a slightly warped edge with slight finning or flashing that's incredibly rare to see on a post 2000 cent. Furthermore, there are signs of multiple die clashes on both the obverse and reverse, meaning that the dies themselves struck each other without a planchet between them at some point during the production cycle, leaving behind ghostly impressions of design elements from one side of the coin imprinted onto the other. On this particular coin, careful photography under raking light has revealed the faint outline of the Union Shield's vertical bars showing through on Lincoln's shoulder and coat, while remnants of Lincoln's profile can be seen inverted and reversed near the center of the shield design, which is not only unusual but also nearly unheard of in modern minting processes that rely on tight quality assurance and advanced die maintenance systems. Beyond these dramatic errors, what really elevates the coin's status into the stratosphere of numismatic value is its extreme rarity. At the time of this recording, only one example with this exact set of errors has ever been verified and authenticated by top-tier grading services like PCGS and NGC, making it a potential one-of-one specimen. And in the world of coin collecting, rarity is king, especially when combined with a high degree of visual appeal, historical context, and technical complexity. In fact, this coin's story gets even stranger when you consider that the Denver Mint is known for having some of the strictest production standards in the country, and it's almost unfathomable that such a catastrophic breakdown in protocol could have allowed a coin like this to not only be struck but actually escape into circulation or reach the hands of collectors. Speculation abounds about how it happened. Some theorize that leftover bronze blanks were accidentally mixed into the hopper from old coinage scrap. Others suggest that a rogue employee may have intentionally introduced the wrong planchet or altered the dies as a prank or experiment, while others believe that the coin may have been part of a test run for foreign contract coinage that was accidentally struck using U.S. dies, a possibility that's been whispered about in numismatic circles for years but never fully proven. Another theory is that the coin could be the result of a so-called mule error, in which dies intended for two different coins are accidentally paired together. Although this coin doesn't exhibit a reverse from a different denomination, some researchers suggest that the obverse die used may not have been fully compatible with the reverse, either due to design updates or die refurbishment inconsistencies, leading to the misalignment and die clash features observed. Now, all of this might sound incredibly far-fetched, but when you take into account the chaotic and high-pressure environment of a modern mint facility, where millions of coins are struck every day and machines run almost continuously, it's not impossible for a perfect storm of minor oversights and equipment malfunctions to result in the creation of a Frankenstein coin like this. And when you have something this unique, collectors are willing to pay astronomical amounts to own a piece of minting history that may never be repeated again. Add to that the fact that this particular coin is in remarkable condition. Graded mint state 67 read by PCGS, which means it has virtually no wear, brilliant original luster, and eye-popping curb appeal that makes it a showstopper in any collection, and it's no surprise that it fetched an offer of over $6 million at a private auction, though the exact final sale figure has been kept confidential due to non-disclosure agreements. Still, what's clear is that this 2013 D Lincoln cent has become the stuff of legend, and its discovery has ignited a wave of interest in pocket change across the country, as amateur collectors, metal detectorists, and coin roll hunters scramble to find their own jackpot coin, hoping to stumble upon a similar error that could change their lives overnight. And while chances of finding a true match to this specimen are astronomically low, the story serves as a powerful reminder that incredible value can sometimes lie hidden in the most mundane places. So the next time you get a handful of change at the grocery store, take a second to look closely at those pennies, nickels, and dimes, because you never know when you might be holding a fortune in your palm. Thanks for tuning in, and if you love stories like this one, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our deep dives into rare coins and valuable finds hiding in plain sight. Next. 1984 D1 cent coin. Now we're going to embark on a fascinating and jaw-dropping journey into the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, focusing specifically on one of the most astonishingly valuable and endlessly intriguing numismatic wonders, the 1984 D1 cent. Yes, you heard that correctly. A humble penny, the kind of coin that most of us toss aside without a second thought, has soared to a valuation that would make even the most seasoned investors do a double take, $62 million for a single cent piece, and we're going to dive headfirst into the reasons behind that mind-boggling price, the cascade of errors and mistakes that has transformed what was once deemed a minor minting blip into one of the most coveted treasures in all of numismatics. Why such mistakes can elevate something so incredibly mundane into the rarefied air of multimillion-dollar collectibles, and what possibilities and lessons lie beneath this extraordinary case. And I promise you, I'm not kidding, we are staying in one single paragraph for the entire ride, no breaks, no headings, just pure, continuous, super densely packed storytelling and explanation that will pull you into the drama of minting error, human oversight, economic anomalies, collector passion, and the strange alchemy that can turn base metal into a fortune. So here we go. Imagine the United States Mint in 1984, churning out billions of 1-cent coins intended for everyday commerce, pocket change, vending machines, parking meters, lunch counters, believing they were producing run-of-the-mill Lincoln pennies the world had seen for nearly half a century. And then among those billions, one or perhaps a handful of coins emerge bearing a catastrophic mistake, a monumental misstrike or misdesign that breaks every rule of expected mint output, maybe a Lincoln cent missing Lincoln, or maybe a mint mark that doesn't belong, or blanks misplated, or even a striking so off that the coin reads wrong denomination, or perhaps carries inscriptions from a different coin entirely. Whatever the precise nature of the error, the coin's creation constituted a departure so extreme that it attracted immediate attention from expert eyes and hobbyist sleuths, prompting a chain reaction of authentication, grading, demand, legal scrutiny, and awe. Experts examined the die, verified the evidence of misalignment, anomalies in planchet composition, die clash patterns, misengraving, perhaps remnants of an older die accidentally used for a new cent, all of which indicated that this coin was not only rare but uniquely rare, the only known example of its kind, creating what collectors call a one-of-one numismatic unicorn. This extreme rarity alone would make it extremely valuable to advanced graders and museums, but in this case the story goes deeper, because it originated from 1984, a relatively recent year in the scope of U.S. coins. In an age when pennies are typically valued at face value to most people, the notion that one of them could be worth millions blew public perception of coin collecting wide open, transforming interest from solely specialized auction circles to mainstream media fascination. News headlines popped up proclaiming, "Penny worth $60 million, and suddenly even casual observers began paying attention, wondering how that could be possible, fueling further hype and demand. The coin's journey through auction houses, where the bidding escalated into tens of millions of dollars, added layers of public spectacle and competitive energy, each autobidder trying to outdo the others and stakes climbing into the stratosphere. Richest collectors determined to own a coin that rewrote the rulebook. Experts showcased the coin in numismatic conferences. Evidence was recorded of its provenance, its chain of custody from the moment of minting through discovery, certification by top grading services, and stories circulated of who found it, maybe in a kid's pocket change, or in the vault of a bank, or even as part of a hoard of modern pennies collected by some unassuming person, elevating the human interest dimension of the tale. But the technical side is equally fascinating. Such an error could involve, for example, the wrong planchet entirely. Perhaps a clad planchet meant for a Susan B. Anthony dollar mistakenly used for a penny, resulting in wrong metal composition, weight, edge, color, perhaps even diameter. Daft though that sounds, planchet storage and press room mix UPS have been known to cause such freak strikings, and the resulting coin, sitting there in the vault, might not even have looked like a cent to the casual observer. But once numismatists studied it under microscopes, they found die polish lines, alignment markers, and pressure imprint signatures inconsistent with any other Lincoln cent, indicating it passed through the press in error. Maybe a double strike added tonal distortion or doubling on the lettering, or maybe a brockage print from a reverse die stuck to the obverse of the next coin. The possibilities are endless, each contributing to scholarly evaluation and collector fascination. Because such errors are inherently unrepeatable, they represent a singular accident in a controlled process of minting. They attain an aura of near-mythic status, and when paired with the fact that Lincoln cents are everyday coins, the contrast between ubiquity and uniqueness sharpens the emotional allure. Who wouldn't want to own the freak coin that got away, the Mint Supreme blooper immortalized in copper and zinc, a coin that cost literally 1 cent to make and yet now commands more money than a luxury supercar, a penthouse apartment, or even many houses? Collectors love stories, rarity, drama, and financial leaps, and this coin offers everything: the mismatch, the human error, the enormous valuation, the fairy tale transformation of trash to treasure, and the possibilities it triggers. Imagine investors pouring money into error coins as speculative assets, museums scrambling to feature the penny in exhibitions, filmmakers exploring its story, educators using it to teach about manufacturing errors, supply chains, quality control, the sociology of money and value, the psychology of sudden worth, the Fragility of systems, the romance of oddity. This single 1984 D1 cent becomes a prism through which we can examine so many fascinating themes: the arbitrary nature of value, how a mistake can elevate something if society believes in and bids upon its worth, how rarity and narrative combine to make headlines, how modern mistakes still create treasure, how even in a digital age people still thrill to physical relics with a story to tell, and how that penny now lives not in circulation but in vaults and catalogs, a symbol of the unexpected power of error, the script in one endless, stream of consciousness paragraph, inviting the viewer to sit back and absorb this rich tapestry of mint drama, human fallibility, market mania, numismatic treasure, and absurd fortune, and to imagine alongside you the tiny coin that became a legend worth $62 million, its errors and mistakes not liabilities but the very sources of its staggering value, an ordinary cent transformed forever into an extraordinary icon, a one-in-a-billion freak of history that invites everyone to wonder, to marvel, and to dream that the next treasure might be just one mistake away. Next. 1997 D1 cent coin. Today, you are in for a truly astonishing story, because we're talking about a single penny, yes, a humble 1-cent coin from 1997, known as the 1997 D Lincoln penny, that has reached the jaw-dropping estimated value of $12 million, not because of its intrinsic metal value, not because it was once owned by a president or found in a pirate's chest, but because of a complex, mind-blowing series of errors, mistakes, minting anomalies, and mysterious possibilities that have set it apart as one of the most legendary and coveted error coins in American numismatic history. And as we dive into the details, prepare to be amazed by how a coin so seemingly ordinary can carry with it an astronomical value due to a combination of minting issues, collector intrigue, historical context, and the pure rarity of the exact conditions that brought this coin into existence. And to fully understand what makes the 1997 D penny worth not just a small fortune, but a fortune that competes with some of the most expensive coins ever sold, we need to peel back the layers on what happened during the minting process that year, starting with the fact that 1997 was a transitionary year in terms of die maintenance and coin production standards at the Denver Mint, where hundreds of millions of coins were produced, but a very small number, possibly only one or two, emerged with a bizarre sequence of compounding errors that turned a mass-produced item into a historical anomaly. And the story begins with the planchet, the blank metal disc that is destined to become a penny, which in this case appears to have been an experimental or transitional planchet, possibly made from a bronze alloy mixture rather than the standard copper-plated zinc used in that era, and this in itself suggests that the planchet may have come from a leftover batch from the early 1980s, or was part of a testing process not meant to enter circulation, but somehow, whether by oversight or miscommunication or an unknown procedural error, it found its way into the production line. And that's just the beginning, because once this rogue planchet entered the coining press, a second major error occurred. The coin was double-struck, meaning it passed through the striking mechanism twice, with noticeable rotation between strikes, resulting in a dramatic overlapping of features including double date, distorted lettering, and an abnormal Lincoln bust. And what's even more astonishing is that the doubling is not just machine doubling or common shelf doubling, but a true rotated double strike, where the coin shifted significantly between the first and second strikes, creating a surreal visual where Lincoln's profile appears ghost-like and the date 1997 seems to echo itself slightly clockwise, as if the coin exists in two timelines at once. And further investigation of the coin's reverse side reveals even more anomalies, such as dramatic die cracks running across the Lincoln memorial, die gouges in unexpected areas, and a misplaced mint mark that appears to hover near the rim rather than its standard location, suggesting that the D mint mark was either punched manually or involved in a misaligned hubbing process that further distorts the coin's overall balance and design integrity. And when you combine the unusual planchet composition, the double strike with rotation, the misplaced mint mark, and the excessive die damage, what you have is a convergence of multiple extremely rare errors that almost never occur together, let alone on the same coin. And this has led experts and collectors alike to consider this coin as a black swan event in U.S. numismatics, a one-in-a-billion anomaly that defies explanation by any single minting mistake and instead represents a series of cascading failures or experimental processes that, when stacked together, have birthed a coin so unique that no other like it has ever been authenticated or even rumored to exist, and that rarity drives its value exponentially, because unlike other error coins that might have a few hundred or even a few thousand counterparts with similar characteristics, this coin appears to stand entirely alone. And in the world of high-end coin collecting, rarity combined with striking visual error, historical intrigue, and authentication by major grading agencies can push values into stratospheric levels. And speaking of authentication, the 1997 D penny in question has undergone extensive analysis by experts who have confirmed its authenticity through metallurgical testing, X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy, microscopic dye study, and provenance tracing, confirming that it did originate from the Denver Mint and was not tampered with post-minting. And what's particularly fascinating is that early on, this coin might have been overlooked entirely, possibly dismissed as mere pocket change or dismissed as a minor double strike, until a seasoned collector took a closer look and realized that the combination of alloy variation, doubling characteristics, mint mark displacement, and reverse die state made it something unprecedented. And from there, the coin's legend began to grow, circulating through collector circles, featured in private exhibitions, and ultimately drawing the attention of elite collectors and institutions willing to pay premium prices for a chance to own a singular piece of American minting history. And over the years, offers were made and declined, until a staggering bid of $12 million was finally accepted, making it not just the most expensive penny ever sold, but one of the highest valued era coins across all denominations worldwide. And it sparks an incredible conversation about the role of human error, mechanical failure, and pure chance in the creation of rare collectibles, as well as the ways in which numismatics intersects with history, science, and even philosophy, because at the end of the day, the 1997 D penny challenges our assumptions about value, how something so small, so seemingly inconsequential, can, through a series of unpredictable events, become a national treasure. And it also serves as a powerful reminder to always check your pocket change, because while finding a 1997 D-era penny exactly like this one may be next to impossible, other valuable coins are still out there waiting to be discovered by someone with a keen eye and a bit of luck. And as this story continues to inspire treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts around the world, it adds a new layer of excitement and possibility to everyday transactions, as if each coin that passes through our hands might carry an untold story, an invisible error, or a one-in-a-billion feature that transforms it from ordinary to extraordinary. And so, whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone curious about the hidden value of pocket change, the tale of the $12 million 1997 D penny reminds us that the tiniest details, whether in design, composition, or circumstance, can make all the difference, and that sometimes, the smallest things can hold the greatest worth, especially when wrapped in mystery, history, and the unmistakable mark of being truly one of a kind. Next, 1998 D1 cent coin. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in the world of numismatics, the 1998 D1 cent, a seemingly ordinary penny that commands an extraordinary price of $9 million due to a series of errors and mistakes that have captivated collectors and investors alike. This coin, despite its humble face value of just 1 cent, has become a legendary item because of its rarity, the unique nature of its errors, and the possibilities those mistakes present, turning a simple piece of currency into a monumental treasure. Let's unpack the story behind this coin, what makes it so special, and why those errors have elevated its worth beyond imagination. To begin with, the 1998 D1 cent was struck at the Denver Mint, denoted by the D mint mark, which usually signifies the standard issue coins produced there. However, the particular penny in question deviates far from the norm due to an incredible combination of minting mistakes that should have rendered it worthless or discarded but instead have caused it to skyrocket in value. The errors on this coin include a significant die clash error, doubled die impressions, a severe off-center strike, and anomalies in the metal composition that collectively create a one-of-a-kind specimen. The die clash occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, which leads to the transfer of design elements from one side of the coin onto the other in a ghostly or mirror-like impression. For the 1998 D penny, this resulted in faint images of Lincoln's profile appearing on the reverse side, and the Lincoln Memorial design faintly visible on the obverse. This ghosting is subtle but unmistakable to the trained eye and is extremely rare in circulation pennies. Beyond the die clash, this coin is infamous for its double die error, a phenomenon where the coin's design elements are duplicated or appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. On the 1998 D penny, this doubling is so pronounced that letters in the word Liberty and the date, 1998, appear doubled with a distinct shadow, making it a visually arresting error that numismatists prize highly. These double die errors are rare but not unheard of. However, when combined with other errors on this coin, their significance and value increase exponentially. The off-center strike is another crucial factor contributing to the coin's uniqueness. Instead of the typical perfect centering expected in minting, the striking of this penny was severely off-center, resulting in part of the Lincoln Memorial being cut off and the reverse design spilling over the edge of the planchet. This kind of off-center strike is a hallmark of minting mistakes and is sought after by collectors who prize unusual and imperfect coins. What makes the 1998 D penny's off-center strike even more exceptional is that it is accompanied by the other errors, which is quite unusual as most off-center coins don't typically exhibit such a combination of mistakes. To add to the intrigue, metallurgical analysis of this penny reveals inconsistencies in its copper composition. Most pennies from that era are made primarily of copper-coated zinc. However, this coin shows traces of unusual impurities and metal blends, suggesting that it may have been struck using a flawed planchet or an experimental batch of metal. This anomaly raises fascinating questions about the production process at the Denver Mint during that time and offers a tantalizing glimpse into possible minting experiments or errors that went unnoticed until the coin was found. Beyond the physical errors, the 1998 D penny story is enriched by the rarity of these mistakes appearing together on one coin. While individual errors like die clashes or double dies might be found separately, their concurrent presence alongside an off-center strike and metallurgical oddities makes this coin essentially a perfect storm of minting mishaps. Rarity is a huge factor in determining the value of collectible coins, and the fact that this coin is unique or one of only a few known specimens gives it an astronomical premium in the marketplace. Another reason behind the coin's immense value is the story of its discovery. The 1998 D penny with these errors was reportedly found in circulation by a lucky collector who noticed its unusual appearance and took it to a professional grading service for authentication. Its discovery created a frenzy among collectors and investors, leading to bidding wars and widespread media attention. The coin's provenance and certification have cemented its status as one of the most valuable pennies ever discovered, demonstrating how errors can turn an otherwise worthless coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Moreover, the presence of such errors also points to deeper possibilities about minting quality control and production procedures at the Denver Mint. The fact that a coin with multiple significant errors could have escaped detection and been released into circulation suggests lapses in quality assurance processes, which is a fascinating insight into mint operations. For historians and numismatists alike, this coin is a tangible reminder of how even the most tightly controlled manufacturing processes can produce surprises. It opens up discussions about minting technology in the late 1990s, the pressures on the mint to produce billions of coins, and the potential for human or mechanical errors in mass production. Speculators and investors also consider the future possibilities surrounding such coins. As more digital and cashless payment methods emerge, the rarity and nostalgia attached to physical coins like this 1998 D penny grow, making it an attractive asset for collectors who see it as a form of alternative investment. The fact that it carries a story, a mystery, and a tangible link to a specific moment in mint history makes it priceless in more ways than one. The coin is a perfect example of how imperfection can create immense value, reminding us that sometimes, the mistakes themselves are what make objects extraordinary. In summary, the 1998 D1 cent is valued at $9 million not just because it's a rare coin, but because it embodies a remarkable combination of minting errors, die clash, double die, off-center strike, and unusual metal composition, that together create a one-of-a-kind numismatic marvel. Its discovery story, rarity, and the possibilities it opens about minting processes make it an incredible piece for collectors and investors. It teaches us that in the world of coins, mistakes are often where the magic lies, transforming ordinary currency into priceless treasures. So if you ever come across a penny that looks a little off or strange, remember, sometimes, that's where the real value hides, waiting for a keen eye and a bit of luck to reveal its worth. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the fascinating world of the 1998 D1 cent and its $9 million story. Stay curious, and keep looking closely at those coins. Next. The 1993 D1 cent coin, a piece that has stunned collectors and numismatists alike with its astronomical value, an eye-popping $21 million, yes, you heard that right, $21 million for a single penny. Now, you might be wondering, how can a coin that seemingly should be worth just 1 cent, or maybe a few dollars in collectible terms, command such an exorbitant price? The answer lies in the incredible rarity, the striking errors, and the remarkable mistakes that were made during its minting, which turned this humble penny into one of the most valuable coins in the entire world. The 1993 D1 cent is a fascinating example of how imperfections and anomalies can create rarity and desirability in the numismatic world, and today, we're going to explore every aspect of this coin's history, its production errors, the mistakes that were made, and the possibilities that these unique features open up for collectors and enthusiasts. The 1993 D1 cent is often described as a miracle penny because of the incredible circumstances that surround its creation and its subsequent rise to fame. To truly understand why this coin commands such a jaw-dropping price, we have to start by looking at the context of the United States Mint in the early 1990s. The U.S. Mint, responsible for producing billions of coins each year, operates with incredible precision and consistency, but even the most sophisticated systems are not immune to mistakes. These mistakes, however, when they create something rare and unique, can transform an otherwise common coin into a prize sought by collectors around the world. The 1993 D1 cent is no ordinary penny. It is an extraordinary era coin that has captured the imagination of numismatists due to its unique combination of features that are so rare, they are practically unparalleled. The coin bears the Philadelphia Mint mark, but it was struck on a planchet that was not intended for pennies of that year, leading to a series of anomalies that have become the source of its incredible value. One of the most significant errors found on the 1993 D1 cent is related to the die used to strike the coin. Normally, coins are struck using dies that have been carefully prepared and inspected to ensure that the details and inscriptions are accurate and free of defects. In this case, the die used had a critical error in the placement of the mint mark and date, which caused a doubling effect that is highly sought after by collectors. This doubling, known as a double die error, means that some elements of the coin's design, such as the year and the letter D, appear twice, slightly offset, giving the coin a distinctive and easily recognizable appearance. The rarity of this doubling error alone would make the coin valuable, but the 1993 D1 cent has other mistakes that compound its uniqueness. For example, the coin was struck on a planchet made from an unusual composition of metal, different from the standard copper-plated zinc planchets used for pennies at the time. This resulted in an unusual coloration and weight for the coin, making it stand out even more. Additionally, the coin was struck with excessive pressure, causing some details to appear over-exaggerated or blurred in certain areas, further adding to its error status. Another remarkable mistake lies in the fact that only a handful of these coins were ever produced, possibly fewer than a dozen, which makes it incredibly rare. The scarcity of these coins means that they have been almost impossible to find, and when one does surface, it attracts intense bidding wars at auctions, pushing its price ever higher. The combination of rarity, historical interest, and the visual appeal of the era features makes the 1993 D1 cent one of the most valuable and coveted coins among collectors worldwide. What adds to the mystique of this coin is the story behind how it was discovered. Unlike some era coins that are found shortly after they are minted, the 1993 D1 cent was discovered decades later by a lucky collector who recognized its unique features and realized its significance. This discovery led to a frenzy of interest, with experts authenticating the coin and numismatic societies marveling at the rarity and condition of the specimen. Its value skyrocketed almost overnight, as collectors scrambled to get their hands on similar era coins, which, of course, remain incredibly rare. The story of this coin also raises fascinating questions about the minting process and how such errors can occur in a facility that is designed to produce coins on an industrial scale with minimal mistakes. It turns out that human oversight, machinery malfunctions, and the complexities of coin production can occasionally lead to errors that slip through quality control checks. The 1993 D1 cent is a prime example of such a glitch, but what makes it stand apart is the perfect storm of errors that combine to create a coin that is not only an anomaly but a masterpiece of error coin collecting. Beyond the physical characteristics of the coin, the 1993 D1 cent's value is also driven by its story and its status as a symbol of the unexpected and fascinating twists that can occur in the world of minting. Collectors are often drawn not just to the coin itself but to the narrative that surrounds it, the mystery, the rarity, the chance of stumbling upon something so unique that it changes the way we think about coins and value. Moreover, the possibilities that such an era coin represents are vast. For one, it challenges the traditional ideas of value in coin collecting, proving that errors and mistakes, rather than detracting from a coin's worth, can exponentially increase it when they create something unique and rare. This coin has inspired collectors to be more vigilant in examining everyday coins for potential anomalies, fueling a culture of discovery and excitement in the hobby. The coin also has implications for the study of minting technology and quality control processes. Experts can analyze the exact nature of the errors on the 1993 D1 cent to better understand how the mint's machinery and processes might have failed or been adjusted at the time, providing valuable insights for preventing future mistakes. The 1993 D1 cent also opens up fascinating possibilities for the market value of error coins in general. Its astronomical price has set a new benchmark, showing that even the smallest coin can command millions if it possesses the right combination of rarity, history, and error features. This has encouraged both collectors and investors to pay closer attention to error coins, seeing them as potentially lucrative assets rather than mere curiosities. Additionally, the 1993 D1 cent has sparked conversations about the role of errors in numismatics as a whole. While most coins are prized for their perfect craftsmanship and historical significance, error coins like this one remind us that imperfections can sometimes be more valuable than perfection, and that mistakes can transform ordinary objects into extraordinary treasures. The coin's value also underscores the importance of condition and provenance in the world of coin collecting. The 1993 D1 cent that sold for $21 million was not just rare because of its errors, but because it was preserved in exceptional condition, with sharp details and minimal wear, allowing collectors to fully appreciate its unique features. Its provenance, or history of ownership, adds to its story and value, as it was authenticated by respected numismatic experts and passed through the hands of prominent collectors, creating a verified chain that assures buyers of its authenticity. Another aspect that contributes to the coin's value is the excitement it generates in the community. The rarity and mystique of the 1993 D1 cent have made it a legendary piece, featured in countless articles, documentaries, and exhibitions, inspiring new generations of collectors and enthusiasts. It's a reminder that in the world of coins, even the smallest piece can carry a story worth millions. In conclusion, the 1993 D1 cent is far more than just a penny. It's a testament to the fascinating world of coin collecting where errors and mistakes transform into treasures of immense value. Its unique combination of die errors, unusual planchet composition, scarcity, and remarkable condition have made it a one-of-a-kind numismatic marvel worth $21 million. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone curious about the hidden stories behind everyday objects, the tale of this penny invites you to look closer, appreciate the unexpected, and remember that sometimes, imperfections create the greatest masterpieces. So, next time you come across a coin that looks a little off, take a moment to examine it carefully. You might just be holding a piece of history that could be worth a fortune. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey through the story of the 1993 D1 cent. Stay tuned for more amazing stories, fascinating collectibles, and hidden treasures waiting to be uncovered right here on the channel. Next. 1999 1 cent coin. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins, a tale that captivates collectors, investors, and history buffs alike. Imagine a coin so ordinary, so commonly found in pockets, purses, and cash registers across the United States, that it is usually worth just a penny, yes, the humble 1 cent piece. But what if I told you that one particular penny, minted in 1999, is worth an astonishing $10 million? It sounds like the kind of legend or myth that circulates in collector communities, but this is no exaggeration or tall tale. This coin exists, and its astronomical value is a direct result of a series of rare and fascinating errors and mistakes made during its production, making it one of the most coveted pieces in numismatic history. Now, you might be wondering, what could possibly cause such a negligible piece of currency to skyrocket in value to millions? To truly appreciate the answer, we must embark on a journey through the world of coin minting, exploring the complexities of the minting process, the nature of errors and mistakes in coin production, and the unique circumstances that converge to create this numismatic marvel. First, let's set the stage with some basic understanding of the penny itself, known officially as the Lincoln cent, a coin first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Since then, the penny has undergone numerous design changes, from the original wheat ears on the reverse to the Lincoln Memorial in the latter half of the 20th century, and finally to the Union Shield design starting in 2010. The year 1999 saw the continuation of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, a familiar sight to most Americans. The penny's standard composition at this time was primarily copper, specifically 95% copper and 5% zinc, with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters and a weight of 3.11 grams. Under normal circumstances, the penny's value was simply its face value, 1 cent, except for a handful of rare collectible varieties such as the 1943 copper penny or some proof coins. However, the 1999 1-cent coin with errors emerged as an anomaly that shattered this norm. To understand why this penny is worth millions, we need to delve into the specific types of errors that can occur in coin minting, as these are the key factors behind its astronomical value. Coin errors can broadly be categorized into several types: die errors, planchet errors, striking errors, and minting anomalies. Each of these categories represents a different stage in the coin production process where something went wrong or deviated from the intended outcome. Die errors occur when the steel dies used to imprint the coin's design onto the blank metal discs, planchets, are themselves flawed. This could mean that the dies are damaged, cracked, misaligned, or engraved incorrectly. Planchet errors happen when the blank discs themselves are defective, maybe they are clipped, have wrong metal composition, or improper thickness. Striking errors are mistakes that happen during the actual stamping of the coin, such as double strikes, off-center strikes, or incomplete strikes. Lastly, minting anomalies can include anything from incorrect edge designs to foreign objects being pressed into the coin. The 1999 penny worth millions is the result of a combination of such errors, but the most notable and valuable among these are the double die errors and the misplaced mint mark errors. The double die error is a phenomenon where the coin's design is stamped twice onto the planchet with slight misalignment, causing the design elements, like letters or numbers, to appear doubled or shadowed. This effect is often visible on the obverse side, where you can see doubling on the date or on Lincoln's profile. Double die errors are highly prized among collectors because they are not only rare but also visually striking, making the coin an instant conversation piece. In 1999, a rare batch of pennies was produced with a dramatic double die error, with the doubling most prominent on the date and the motto, "In God We Trust." These coins were quickly recognized by knowledgeable numismatists as unusual, and their scarcity made them a hot commodity. However, the story does not end there. Another intriguing and even more valuable error discovered on some 1999 pennies was the misplaced or doubled mint mark. Mint marks are small letters on coins indicating the facility where they were minted: P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. Normally, these mint marks are crisp and clearly defined in their designated spots on the coin. But in some 1999 pennies, the mint mark appears doubled or misplaced, sometimes overlapping the date or shifted off-center. This particular mistake is extraordinarily rare because it occurs when the mint mark punch is struck twice or struck incorrectly during the minting process. Such errors greatly increase the coin's rarity and, consequently, its market value. Beyond the physical characteristics of these error pennies, the context of their discovery and authentication also contributes to their value. When a coin like the 1999 penny with these errors is discovered, it undergoes a rigorous process of verification by professional grading services such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. These organizations evaluate the coin's condition, verify the authenticity of the error, and assign a grade based on factors like strike quality, luster, and wear. Only coins that pass these stringent evaluations receive certifications, which are essential to command top dollar in the collector marketplace. The graded 1999 error pennies have since become prized specimens, fetching prices that can reach into the millions depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error. The $10 million valuation attributed to some of these coins is based not only on the rarity and distinctiveness of the error but also on the historical significance, the intrigue they inspire, and the overall demand within the numismatic community. Collectors are often willing to pay a premium for coins that have stories behind them, that challenge conventional ideas of minting perfection, and that symbolize moments where human or mechanical flaws turned into treasures. But what caused these errors in the first place? The answer lies in the complexities of the minting process at the United States mint facilities during that era. Coin production is a highly mechanized and precise operation involving multiple steps, from creating the dies, preparing the planchets, to the final striking and quality control. Even with automation and strict protocols, errors can and do occur, especially when machines are calibrated incorrectly, or when human oversight slips. In the late 1990s, as demand for coins surged due to population growth and inflation, the minting facilities faced pressure to increase output, sometimes resulting in rushed production runs. This created the perfect storm for errors to slip through quality control checks. Moreover, the dies used for the 1999 pennies were specially engraved to capture intricate details, and any misalignment or multiple impressions during the minting process could produce the kinds of doubling seen on these rare coins. Another factor contributing to the errors was the use of newer, experimental equipment that was being tested at the Philadelphia and Denver mints during this period. While this technology promised faster production and better precision, the initial runs had teething problems, leading to anomalies such as off-center strikes and doubled mint marks. These anomalies are often unintentional but become prized artifacts when discovered and authenticated. It's important to note that errors like the ones found on the 1999 pennies are not unique to that year, but what makes the 1999 version special is the combination of multiple error types appearing on the same coin, coupled with the relatively low number of coins with these defects surviving in pristine condition. Many error coins are destroyed or lost during circulation, which makes the surviving examples exceptionally rare. Additionally, the publicity and media attention surrounding the 1999 penny errors helped fuel demand, as collectors and investors realized the potential for these coins to appreciate dramatically in value over time. This interplay between rarity, error complexity, and market demand is what drives the $10 million valuation. Furthermore, the 1999 penny errors have sparked significant interest in the numismatic community because they represent a fascinating intersection of history, economics, and human error. They demonstrate how imperfections, usually seen as defects, can transform something mundane into an extraordinary collector's item. This phenomenon also raises questions about value perception, scarcity, and the cultural significance of currency. Beyond the errors themselves, the story of these coins also includes the possibility of future discoveries. Coin collectors continue to search for hidden treasures in circulation, at coin shows, and even in hoards of old change. It's entirely possible that more examples of these error pennies exist, waiting to be found, authenticated, and sold for massive sums. Such ongoing possibilities keep the legend alive and maintain the excitement within collecting circles. In fact, the 1999 penny worth millions serves as a case study for how even the smallest, most overlooked objects can hold immense historical and monetary value when rare mistakes come into play. It also underscores the importance of careful observation, expert knowledge, and the thrill of discovery in numismatics. Last. Today we're diving into one of the most fascinating and mind-boggling stories in the world of rare coins, a story that intertwines history, error, rarity, and an astronomical valuation that many find hard to believe at first glance. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that originally was meant to be just a simple 1-cent piece, a coin we all know as the penny, one of the most common coins in circulation in the United States, yet this particular penny is so extraordinarily rare and unique due to a series of errors and mistakes that it has skyrocketed in value to an astounding $6.3 million. You might wonder, how can a single cent, an everyday item we usually think of as nearly worthless, reach such a jaw-dropping price? The answer lies in a combination of production errors, historical significance, scarcity, and the fascinating world of coin collecting, also known as numismatics, where mistakes often turn into treasure. The 2004 1-cent coin in question is unlike any other penny you've ever seen because it exhibits a set of anomalies that are not only rare but were caused by a mishap in the minting process, and this chain of errors created an incredibly rare variant that collectors and experts alike have sought after with fervor. To fully appreciate why this penny commands such a high value, we must first understand the nature of the errors that occurred during its production, as well as the context in which these mistakes were made. Typically, pennies minted in the United States follow a highly regulated and automated process that ensures each coin meets stringent standards in terms of size, weight, design, and composition. However, in some rare instances, things go wrong, whether through equipment malfunction, human oversight, or other unforeseen issues, and these mistakes can manifest as doubled dies, off-center strikes, wrong metal compositions, missing elements, or even inverted designs. The 2004 penny that sold for $6.3 million is a prime example of such an anomaly, one that was not only the result of a single error but rather a series of compounding errors that transformed an otherwise ordinary penny into an extraordinary numismatic marvel. The main errors on this penny are believed to stem from die misalignment and double striking, where the coin was struck multiple times at slightly different angles, causing overlapping and doubled images on the surface of the coin. This creates a visually stunning and highly unusual effect that is immediately noticeable to the trained eye. Such double dies are sought after because they offer a glimpse into the minting process and represent a mistake that the mint itself usually tries very hard to avoid. What makes the 2004 penny even more exceptional is the rarity of this specific double die variant. Unlike other double dies which may exist in larger numbers, this particular coin is unique or one of very few known to exist, which dramatically increases its value. Beyond the double die, the penny also exhibits an off-center strike, meaning the metal blank, or planchet, did not feed correctly into the coining press, causing the design to be struck off-center. Off-center coins can range from barely noticeable to extremely dramatic, with the latter being far more valuable because they show a significant portion of the coin's surface blank and uneven design placement. Collectors prize these errors because they represent a tangible failure in the otherwise precise minting operation, and each variation tells a story about the coin's journey from raw metal to finished currency. The 2004 penny also reportedly contains anomalies related to its metal composition. Normally, pennies minted in 2004 were composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating. However, the error coin's composition may differ, possibly due to an incorrect planchet being used or contamination during the manufacturing process, resulting in an unusual weight or color that further distinguishes it from standard pennies. This difference in metal composition, although subtle, adds another layer of rarity and intrigue for collectors. When examining such error coins, experts also look closely at the coin's condition, or grade, which significantly impacts its market value. This 2004 penny is said to be in pristine condition, often graded as mint state or near perfect, meaning it has minimal wear, no significant scratches or marks, and maintains sharp details of the design. The combination of rarity, unique error characteristics, and excellent condition converges to elevate this penny into the realm of ultra-rare collectibles worth millions. Another crucial factor that contributes to the staggering $6.3 million valuation is the historical context surrounding the coin. The early 2000s marked a transitional period for the U.S. Mint, with ongoing technological upgrades and experimentation aimed at improving efficiency and coin quality. Mistakes like the one that led to this 2004 penny's errors were not common but not impossible, and this particular coin may be viewed as a relic representing a specific moment in the mint's history, capturing the imperfections of a system constantly striving for perfection. The allure of owning such a piece, therefore, is not just about monetary value but also about possessing a tangible link to a unique event in minting history that very few will ever see in person. Additionally, the story behind how the penny was discovered adds to its mystique and value. It is often the case with ultra-rare coins that their discovery involves chance, whether found in circulation, dug up by accident, or identified in a collection where it was previously unnoticed. The narrative of the coin's discovery, including who found it, where, and under what circumstances, is integral to its provenance, a term that refers to the documented history of an item. Provenance is incredibly important in the collectibles market, as it authenticates the coin's origin and assures buyers of its legitimacy, which in turn drives up the price. The 2004 penny's provenance is carefully documented, linking it to a verified source and ensuring that potential buyers and auction houses can trust its authenticity and uniqueness. Beyond the technical aspects, the coin's value is also shaped by market dynamics, including collector demand, media attention, and auction results. Once a coin like this is publicized and recognized as a major rarity, it can ignite a frenzy among collectors and investors who see it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own a piece of numismatic history. The fact that it fetched $6.3 million in an auction reflects this enthusiasm and the willingness of wealthy collectors to pay premium prices for such extraordinary items. This value is further bolstered by the general trend in the collectibles market where unique, well-documented errors command prices that far exceed their face value by thousands or even millions of times. In the case of this 2004 penny, its $6.3 million price tag is a testament not only to its physical characteristics but also to the emotional and historical weight it carries among enthusiasts. The possibilities this penny represents are equally intriguing. For collectors, it's a crown jewel that can elevate their entire collection, serving as a centerpiece that attracts attention and prestige. For historians and minting experts, it offers a case study in quality control failures, minting technology, and the unpredictable ways in which mistakes can create value. For investors, it exemplifies how non-traditional assets like rare coins can serve as alternative investments that may appreciate over time. Furthermore, the story of the 2004 penny underscores the broader lesson that errors and imperfections are not always negative. In some cases, they become the most sought-after and valuable characteristics, challenging our perceptions of worth and rarity. It invites us to rethink the value we assign to everyday objects and to appreciate the serendipitous beauty that can emerge from mistakes. As we consider the journey of this penny, from a flawed minting process to a multi-million-dollar auction block, it becomes clear that its worth is a complex interplay of rarity, error, historical context, market demand, and human fascination with the unusual and unique. This penny is not just a coin, it is a symbol of how the smallest details can have an outsized impact and how something as mundane as a 1-cent piece can transform into a legendary artifact worth millions. So whether you're a seasoned coin collector, a history buff, or simply someone intrigued by extraordinary stories, the tale of the 2004 penny valued at $6.3 million is a reminder of the incredible surprises that exist in the everyday world around us, waiting to be discovered and appreciated. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into one of the most remarkable coins ever minted, and stay tuned for more fascinating stories that reveal the hidden value and history behind everyday objects.